get ready, because today we're going deep, really deep into this fascinating material.
Oh, absolutely.
15 ways to boost yourself,
Yeah.
unlock your full potential, and
I love this one.
oh, it's so good. It's jam-packed with all sorts of strategies and advice to help us really, really level up in life.
I think you're going to love this.
So we're going to be covering everything from mindset shifts to like techniques that Olympic athletes use, even a productivity hack that has like totally revolutionized the way that I work.
Nice.
Get ready
I'm excited.
to have your mind blown.
I think what makes this material so interesting is it really kind of weaves together the mental,
Yeah.
the physical, and the practical sides of self-improvement.
Yeah, it's not just like
It's just about positive
it's
thinking.
very.
Yeah, it's like a whole person transformation.
It is.
It's the whole package.
So the first section dives into mindset shifts.
Love it.
And it starts with something I feel like we hear about all the time.
I do.
Gratitude.
Yes,
But honestly, the research in here is really, really fascinating.
it is.
What surprised you about how gratitude actually works?
You know, we always hear about gratitude lists.
Right.
But what I found so interesting in here was the neurological explanation
Oh, wow.
behind it.
Okay.
When we're focusing on what we're grateful for,
Uh-huh.
we're actually like rewiring our brains to move away from that
Yeah.
scarcity mindset.
That feeling of like,
Yeah, that feeling of lack.
not enough.
Yeah, not enough.
And towards this feeling of,
Abundance.
yes, abundance.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's powerful stuff.
So it's not just some fluffy feel-good thing.
Right.
There's actual science
There is.
behind it.
Yeah.
That makes me think about the times I've tried,
Sure.
keeping a gratitude journal.
Yeah.
Sometimes it felt a little forced,
Yeah, I get that.
But other times,
Yeah.
it really, really shifted my energy.
Absolutely. Exactly. And that shift in energy
Yeah.
is key.
Right.
When you're feeling grateful, you're just naturally more
Yeah.
optimistic, resilient.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Okay.
Who's more likely to tackle a challenge?
Right.
Someone who's feeling defeated
Totally.
or someone who's feeling thankful for what they already have.
You're so right.
It's a big difference.
That's a great point.
Oh, God.
It's like gratitude gives you fuel
It does.
to take on whatever
So
comes
the-
your way.
That extra boost you need.
But exactly, to get going.
And speaking of tackling challenges, the next mindset shift is all about
Yes.
developing a growth mindset.
Love this one.
This one always makes me think about how we view failure.
Yeah.
Like, how do we
Yeah, I mean,
perceive failure?
The growth mindset is all about recognizing that abilities aren't fixed.
Right.
We can learn and develop them.
It's not set in stone.
It's not, exactly.
Yeah.
It's about changing your self-talk
Oh, interesting.
from, I can't do this,
Right.
to, I can't do this. Okay. Yet,
It's a small change in words, but it completely reframes failure as just part of the learning process.
it's like that yet is an invitation to keep trying and growing.
Quality.
I love that.
Yeah.
The source even points out that, like, many, many successful people
Oh, I know.
failed multiple times before they achieved their breakthroughs.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just like a straight line.
It's not. It's so true.
It's success.
And if we think about it from like even a neurological perspective,
Oh, yeah.
embracing a growth mindset encourages neuroplasticity,
Okay.
which is the brain's ability to change and adapt
Oh, wow.
throughout life.
So by challenging ourselves and learning from our mistakes,
Yeah,
we're actually helping our brains become
we are.
more adaptable.
More adaptable, more flexible.
That's amazing.
That's pretty cool.
Now, this next technique, I have to admit,
Okay, I'm intrigued.
I was a bit skeptical about it
Yeah.
at first,
Okay.
visualization.
Oh,
But the way the source explains how Olympic athletes use it.
I know.
Wow.
It's powerful stuff.
It's incredible.
Visualization is so powerful.
Yeah.
And the science behind it is fascinating.
Yeah.
When we vividly imagine ourselves performing an action or achieving a goal,
Okay.
our brains actually fire the same neural pathways
Whoa.
as if we were physically doing it.
Really?
It's essentially a mental rehearsal.
So even if I can't physically, like,
Yeah.
dunk a basketball,
Right.
just imagining myself doing it
Exactly.
can actually help train my brain
It can.
for success.
Yeah,
That's mind-blowing.
it is.
That's crazy.
And the more detailed and vivid the visualization,
Oh, wow.
the more powerful the effect.
Really?
So Olympic athletes use this technique
Right.
to mentally rehearse
Oh.
every step of their performance,
Oh, wow.
from the physical movements to the emotions they want to feel.
That's so cool.
It's amazing.
I'm definitely going to try that.
You should.
Maybe I'll start by visualizing myself acing my next presentation.
That's a great one.
But what about those times when, that little voice in our head...
I know exactly what you mean.
...starts saying, we're not good enough.
The word.
How do we deal with negative self-talk?
Negative self-talk. It can be so insidious.
Yes.
It's like an energy vampire.
Yes.
Draining our motivation and our confidence.
It's the worst.
The key is to first become aware of those negative thought patterns.
Okay.
Once you recognize them, you can start to actively replace them with empowering affirmations.
So instead of thinking, I'm going to mess this up.
Right, exactly.
I could try saying, I'm well prepared, and I'm going to do great.
Exactly.
It sounds almost too simple.
I know.
But I can see how that shift in language can make a difference.
It really can. For years, I struggled with imposter syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly doubting my abilities.
I've been there. And it was only when I started consciously challenging those negative thoughts and replacing them with positive affirmations that I really began to feel more confident.
It makes a difference.
More capable.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
Of how changing your self-talk can lead to real transformation.
Yeah.
Our thoughts have immense power to shape our reality.
It's crazy.
It is.
And it's not about ignoring or denying negative feelings.
It's not about pretending they don't exist.
Right. It's about reframing them in a more empowering way.
It's about taking control.
Yeah. I love that narrative.
And this leads perfectly into the last mindset shift in this section.
Okay.
Being mindful of the company we keep.
Right.
And the information we consume.
Yeah. This is a big one.
But we let into our space.
This is where we start to see the interconnectedness of our internal and external worlds.
The people we surround ourselves with.
Yeah.
The media we engage with. It all impacts our energy and outlook.
There's that saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Oh, yeah.
Which can be kind of scary if you think about it.
It can be, yeah.
So for our listeners out there, I'm curious, who are the 5 people you spend the most time with?
Yeah.
And how do they influence your energy?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a question worth pondering.
It is. It is.
Are they lifting you up? Inspiring you? Supporting your growth?
Right. Or are
they draining you?
Yeah.
Bringing you down? Reinforcing those negative patterns?
That's powerful.
It is. Okay. It's about taking stock of your social circle.
Right.
And making sure it's aligned with your goals and your values.
Yes, I love that.
It's about creating a supportive environment for yourself. Now, this next section is all about physical and mental boosters.
Oh, I like this.
Tangible actions we can take to feel our best.
Love it. And it kicks off with something I think we all know we should do more of, exercise.
Yeah, move.
But I have to say, the way this source emphasizes the mood-boosting effects is really motivating. It's not just about,
It's not just about the
physical health.
Right.
It's about mental well-being.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about how you feel.
Yeah.
Exercise triggers the release of endorphins.
Okay.
Which have mood-boosting effects. And you don't need to run a marathon.
Right.
To reap the benefits.
Right. Exactly.
Even short bursts of activity can make a difference.
I used to think exercise had to be this intense, sweaty ordeal.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
At the gym.
Right.
But the source suggests things like dancing, yoga, even just taking a brisk walk.
Totally.
In nature.
Yeah.
It's about finding movement that you enjoy.
It is.
So it doesn't feel like a chore.
That's the key.
Right.
Exactly.
I love that.
Finding ways to make movement a part of your daily life.
Yes.
Whether it's taking the stairs instead of the elevator or having a dance party in your living room.
Right.
Small changes can add up to big results.
Yes.
It's all about consistency.
Speaking of things that can have a big impact, let's talk about sleep.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure we've all experienced.
I know, we've all been there.
The effects of sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
What are some of the less obvious ways it affects us?
Most people know about feeling tired and sluggish.
Right.
But chronic sleep deprivation can also impair cognitive function.
Oh, wow.
It can weaken the immune system.
Really?
And even increase the risk of certain chronic diseases.
Wow. I didn't realize.
It's serious stuff.
It was that serious.
Like running your car on fumes. Well, eventually it's going to break down.
You're right. You're right.
You need to take care of yourself.
The source recommends aiming for 7 to 9 hours.
Yeah, that's a good range.
Of sleep.
Per night?
Yeah. And avoiding screens before bed.
Yeah, that's a big one.
What's the connection there?
Well, the blue light emitted from our devices can actually suppress melatonin production.
Oh, right.
Which is the hormone that regulates our sleep-wake cycle.
I see. So even if you
feel tired.
Even if you feel tired.
Scrolling through your phone before bed
can actually make it harder to fall asleep.
Wow.
And get quality rest.
That explains why I sometimes toss and turn for ages after being on my phone.
Yeah, I've been there.
In bed.
It's tough to resist.
So putting those devices away is crucial.
It's so important.
For a good night's sleep.
For good sleep hygiene.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to another essential aspect of well-being. Staying hydrated.
Yeah, water is life.
And eating nutrient-dense foods.
Good stuff.
This is where we really see
the
mind-body connection in action.
Absolutely.
It's not just one or the other.
It's all connected.
They work together. So dehydration can lead to fatigue, headaches, difficulty concentrating.
It's amazing how much of an impact it has.
And when we don't fuel our bodies with the nutrients they need. We're essentially running on an empty tank.
Like an empty gas tank.
Yeah.
It's not going to get you very far.
It's like trying to build a house.
Oh, I like that.
Without bricks and mortar.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that analogy.
This source isn't about like restrictive diets or anything like that.
No, it's not about deprivation.
It's
about nourishing,
nourishing
your body with whole unprocessed foods that provide sustained energy.
It's amazing how much better.
I know, right?
Food makes such a difference.
When you prioritize.
It really does.
Nutritious food.
It impacts everything.
Now, this next tip might seem counterintuitive.
Okay.
But it's actually a game changer.
Oh, I love these.
For productivity.
All right, I'm ready.
Taking regular breaks.
Oh, interesting.
I have to admit, I used to be the queen of pushing through.
Yeah.
Until I was completely burned out.
I've been there.
But then I discovered the Pomodoro technique.
Pomodoro technique.
Mentioned in the source.
Yes. And oh my God.
It's so simple, but so effective.
Amazing.
The idea is to work for 25 minutes.
Right.
And then take a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
This structured approach helps to maintain focus and prevent burnout.
Yeah.
You're not pushing yourself to the limit.
It's been a total game changer for me.
I know, me too.
I used to think breaks were a waste of time.
Yeah, I used to think that too.
But now I realize they actually make me more productive.
They do.
It's like hitting the reset button on my brain.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Give yourself that time to recharge.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's about working smarter, not harder.
Speaking of working smarter, let's talk about mindfulness.
Oh, yes.
And meditation.
I love this.
The source does a great job of demystifying these practices.
Yeah, it makes them accessible.
And making
for everyone.
Accessible for everyone.
Right. It doesn't have to be this big, scary thing.
What would you say to someone who's intimidated by the idea of meditation?
I would say mindfulness is simply about being present in the moment without judgment.
Great.
It's about noticing your thoughts and feelings without getting swept away by them.
Okay.
And meditation is simply a tool to cultivate that mindfulness.
Right.
It doesn't have to be complicated or mystical. I love that the source suggests something as simple as sitting quietly for a few minutes. Resting on your breath.
That's a great place to start.
You don't need any.
You don't need anything fancy.
Fancy equipment.
No.
Special training.
Just you and your breath.
That's it.
It's as simple as that.
And the benefits of mindfulness and meditation are extensive.
They are.
Reduced stress, improved focus, increased self-awareness.
It's like hitting the pause button on the constant chatter in your mind.
Yes.
Giving yourself that space to just be.
You know, for years I thought meditation was just for, hippies or monks or something. But then I tried a simple mindfulness exercise, just focusing on my breath for 5 minutes.
Simple but effective.
And I was surprised at how much calmer.
Yeah.
And more centered.
It's amazing.
I felt afterwards.
I know, it is.
That's incredible.
It's amazing how such a simple practice can have such profound effects.
Yeah.
And the more you practice, the easier it becomes to access that sense of calm and presence.
Okay, that wraps up our exploration of physical and mental boosters.
Nice.
Ready to dive into the final section?
I am. Let's do it.
Productivity and personal growth.
My favorite.
This section is all about taking that boosted mind and body and applying them.
Putting it into action.
To achieve our goals.
I love that.
And it starts with a concept that can feel both empowering and overwhelming.
Okay.
Setting goals.
Yes, goals are important.
What are your thoughts on?
Yeah, they can be tricky.
Goal setting.
Well, this source emphasizes the importance of setting small, achievable goals.
Oh, okay.
Rather than getting bogged down by overly ambitious ones.
That makes so much sense.
It's about breaking it down.
Yeah, it's easy to feel paralyzed.
I know, right?
By huge, daunting goals.
It's like looking at a mountain.
Yeah.
And being like, how am I ever going to get up there?
Right.
But if you break it down into smaller, manageable steps, it feels much more attainable.
It's like climbing a mountain.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
You don't just teleport to the top.
You don't.
You take it one step at a time.
One step at a time.
Yeah.
And as you achieve those smaller milestones,
yeah,
you build momentum and confidence, which propels you forward.
The source uses the example of writing a book. It seems overwhelming.
It can feel that way.
At first.
Absolutely.
But if you break it down to writing just one page a day, it feels more manageable.
Much more manageable.
Right. And over time, those pages add up.
They do.
To a finished manuscript.
Yes.
It's amazing.
It's the power of compounding.
It is.
Small, consistent actions.
That's the secret.
It's a principle that applies to any goal.
It does. It really does.
Whether it's writing a book, starting a business, learning a new skill.
Absolutely any goal.
So the key takeaway is to start small. Take consistent action.
Yeah.
And celebrate those small wins.
Yes. Celebrate along the way.
Along the way.
Don't wait until the end.
Now, speaking of continuous learning.
Yes. I love this.
This next tip is one I'm personally passionate about. Reading and learning.
Knowledge is power.
Daily.
It is.
The source highlights the cumulative impact of consistent learning.
I love that.
Suggesting reading just 10 pages a day.
10 pages, that's it.
It might not seem like much.
It doesn't seem like much, but it adds up.
It adds up over time.
Over time.
Imagine the knowledge you could gain.
I know, right?
If you read for just 10 minutes each day.
It's incredible.
It's like making small deposits.
It is.
Into your
knowledge bank.
Intellectual bank account.
That's a great way to put it.
And it doesn't have to be just books. It could be articles. Podcasts. Documentaries.
Online courses, conversations with interesting people.
It's about feeding your mind. With new information and perspectives.
It's like a buffet of knowledge.
I love that. A buffet of knowledge.
Now, let's shift gears and talk about something that might not seem directly related to productivity, but is actually super important.
All right.
Decluttering.
Oh, yes.
Both our
love decluttering.
Physical spaces and our minds.
It's so important.
What's the connection between our physical environment and our
There's a big connection there.
Mental clarity.
This source does a great job of highlighting that connection.
It does.
Our physical surroundings can have a profound impact on our mental state.
Right.
A cluttered space can lead to a cluttered mind.
Yes.
Making it difficult to focus and be productive.
I've definitely noticed that.
I have too.
In my own life.
It's amazing how much of a difference it makes.
When my desk is a mess, my mind feels like your mind is a mess too.
Scattered and overwhelmed.
Exactly.
But when I take the time to tidy up, I feel a sense of calm.
It's like a weight has been lifted.
And clarity.
Exactly.
It's like decluttering your mind.
It is.
By decluttering your space.
That's a great way to put it.
I love that.
It's a simple but powerful concept.
Now, ready for a dose of tough love?
Okay, I'm ready.
The next tip is all about taking action.
Yes.
And stopping overthinking.
I love this one.
What are your thoughts on this?
It's about recognizing that action is the antidote to overthinking.
Okay.
It's about shifting from a mindset of fear and procrastination to a mindset of courage and momentum.
Yes.
Often the biggest obstacle to our goals is not a lack of ability, but a lack of action.
It's so easy to get stuck in analysis paralysis.
It is.
Overthinking every detail. Never actually taking that first step.
Yeah, we can get so caught up in our heads.
But as this source emphasizes,
imperfect action
is better than perfect inaction.
Yes.
It's about embracing the idea that we learn by doing. And that mistakes are inevitable.
Right.
But they're valuable learning opportunities.
Yeah.
It's about trusting ourselves and taking that leap of faith.
It's like that quote, the expert at anything was once a beginner.
Exactly.
We all start somewhere.
We do.
And the most important thing is to just take that first step and keep moving forward.
Keep going, keep going.
And finally, let's talk about the importance of celebrating our wins.
Oh, yeah.
Both big and small.
Celebration is key.
Why is this such a crucial part of this self-improvement journey?
Celebrating our wins reinforces positive behaviors and helps us stay motivated.
Right.
It's about acknowledging our progress and giving ourselves credit for our efforts.
I love the idea of turning celebration into a regular practice.
Me too. It shouldn't be a once-in-a-while thing.
It's about savoring those moments of accomplishment. Expert speaker.
It's amazing how this source manages to take all these different self-improvement ideas and present them in a way that feels both practical and inspiring.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like a toolbox filled with strategies that you can actually use in your everyday life.
Totally. It's not just theory, it's about application.
What really stood out to you from everything we've talked about so far?
For me, it's the emphasis on mindset. It's so easy to get stuck in those negative thought patterns.
Yeah.
But this source really highlights the power we have to choose our thoughts and shape our reality.
It's like we're the architects of our own minds.
Exactly. We have more control than we often realize.
And that connects back to the idea of a growth mindset, right? Believing that we can always learn, evolve, and overcome challenges.
Yeah, it's about embracing the journey, not being afraid of setbacks.
It's something I've been working on personally, and it's made a huge difference in how I approach those, inevitable setbacks.
It's a journey, for sure. And speaking of journeys, what about the physical and mental boosters section? Any particular strategies there that resonated with you?
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on sleep because, honestly, that's one area where I struggle. I'm a bit of a night owl, but I know how important quality sleep is for, everything.
Oh, sleep is so crucial. I've always been fascinated by the science of sleep. It's not just about feeling rested, it's fundamental for cognitive function, emotional regulation, even physical health. When we're sleep deprived, our brains literally can't function at their best. We're more irritable, less focused, our decision-making abilities are impaired. It's like trying to run a marathon on an empty stomach.
Wow, okay, that makes me think about all those late nights I've pulled trying to be productive. Maybe I was actually sabotaging myself. I'm definitely going to try to prioritize sleep more. What about you? Any strategies you're particularly drawn to?
Well, aside from sleep, which I'm a huge advocate for, I've found that incorporating regular breaks into my workday has been transformative. I used to think powering through without stopping was the most efficient way to work, just grind. But then I started experimenting with the Pomodoro technique mentioned in the source, and it's made a world of difference.
I've had a similar experience. Those short breaks allow me to come back to my work feeling so much more refreshed and focused. It's like hitting the reset button on my brain. And it's funny because it feels counterintuitive, right? It feels like you're actually doing less work, but the quality of your output is so much better.
Exactly. It's about working smarter, not harder. And speaking of working smarter, I'm curious to know if the section on mindfulness and meditation resonated with you. It's something I've incorporated into my own life, and it's been a game changer in terms of managing stress and staying focused.
For the longest time, I was skeptical about meditation. I thought it was just for people who were super zen and already had it all figured out. But after reading about the research and trying a few simple exercises, I've realized how beneficial it can be for anyone, even those of us who are constantly on the go and have busy minds.
It's not about emptying your mind. It's about learning to observe your thoughts without judgment. It's a skill that takes practice, but the benefits are immense, like reduced stress, improved focus, increased self-awareness.
It's like building a mental muscle, right? The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. What would you say to someone who's completely new to meditation and doesn't know where to start?
I'd encourage them to start small. Even just 5 minutes a day can make a difference. There are tons of guided meditations available online or apps, or you can simply focus on your breath and notice the sensations of your body. The key is to be patient with yourself and not get discouraged if your mind wanders. It's a practice, not a performance.
That's such a good point. It's about progress, not perfection. And speaking of progress, this next section is all about setting ourselves up for success with productivity and personal growth strategies. I have to admit, I sometimes feel overwhelmed by the idea of setting goals. It's like, where do you even begin? There's so much I want to accomplish.
Well, this source does a great job of breaking down the process. The key takeaway is to start small and be specific. Instead of setting a vague goal like be more productive, try something like write for 1 hour every morning before work, or spend 30 minutes each day learning a new language.
That makes so much sense. It's about taking those big, abstract goals and turning them into concrete, actionable steps.
Exactly. And it's also important to choose goals that are meaningful to you. Don't just set goals because you think you should. Choose goals that align with your values, passions, and aspirations.
That's so important. It's about creating a life that feels purposeful and fulfilling. And that leads perfectly into another strategy mentioned in the source: reading and learning daily.
Continuous learning is crucial for personal growth and professional development. The source suggests reading just 10 pages a day. It's a small commitment, but it can have a huge impact over time. Just imagine all the knowledge you could accumulate over a year.
I'm a firm believer in the power of books. It's like having access to the minds and experiences of countless people throughout history. And it doesn't have to be just books. It could be articles, podcasts, online courses, whatever sparks your curiosity and expands your knowledge.
It's about feeding your mind and nurturing your intellectual growth.
Now let's talk about something that might not seem directly related to productivity, but can have a surprisingly big impact: decluttering. What's the connection between our physical environment and our mental clarity?
This source does a great job of highlighting that connection. Our physical surroundings can have a profound impact on our mental state. A cluttered space can lead to a cluttered mind, making it difficult to focus and be productive.
I've definitely noticed that in my own life. When my desk is a mess, my mind feels scattered and overwhelmed. But when I take the time to tidy up, I feel this sense of calm and clarity wash over me.
It's about creating a sense of order and peace in our external environment, which can translate to a sense of inner peace and focus.
It's like decluttering your mind by decluttering your space. I love that. Now, this next strategy might resonate with our listeners who tend to overthink things, taking action and stopping overthinking. What are your thoughts on this?
It's about recognizing that action is the antidote to overthinking. It's about shifting from a mindset of fear and procrastination to a mindset of courage and momentum. Often, the biggest obstacle to our goals is not a lack of ability, but a lack of action. We get so caught up in our heads analyzing and planning that we never actually take that first step.
It's so easy to get stuck in analysis paralysis, overthinking every detail, and never actually taking that first step. But as this source emphasizes, imperfect action is better than perfect inaction.
It's about embracing the idea that we learn by doing, and that mistakes are inevitable but valuable learning opportunities. It's about trusting ourselves and taking that leap of faith.
And finally, let's talk about the importance of celebrating our wins, both big and small. Why is this such a crucial part of the self-improvement journey?
Celebrating our wins reinforces positive behaviors and helps us stay motivated. It's about acknowledging our progress and giving ourselves credit for our efforts. It's too easy to focus on what we haven't accomplished yet and forget to appreciate how far we've come.
I love the idea of turning celebration into a regular practice. It's about savoring those moments of accomplishment, no matter how small they may seem. It's about acknowledging our efforts and giving ourselves permission to feel good about them.
It's about cultivating gratitude for how far we've come and building momentum to keep moving forward.
Now, before we wrap up this section, I want to ask our listeners, what's one small win you can celebrate today? It could be anything from completing a task to trying something new to simply showing up for yourself in some way.
Remember, every step forward is worth acknowledging. It's all part of the journey.
So we've covered a lot of ground today, from mindset shifts and physical and mental boosters to productivity and personal growth strategies. And I have to say, I'm feeling incredibly inspired and motivated.
Me too. This source has provided so many valuable insights and actionable strategies for unlocking our full potential.
But before we sign off, we want to leave you with a thought-provoking question to ponder. We've talked extensively about cultivating a positive mindset, surrounding ourselves with positive influences, and focusing on all the amazing things we want to achieve. But what about those inevitable moments when negativity creeps in? What about those times when we're faced with challenges, setbacks, or even just plain bad days? Life isn't always sunshine and rainbows.
That's such an important question, and it's one we'll delve into in the final part of our deep dive.
Yeah, it's so true. Life isn't always, sunshine and rainbows.
It's not. It's not.
So how do we navigate those tougher moments and come out stronger on the other side?
That's where resilience comes in.
Right.
And one of the key strategies that this source highlights is reframing those challenges as opportunities for growth.
Instead of seeing setbacks as failures,
Right.
we can view them as learning experiences.
Exactly. It's about asking ourselves,
Okay.
what can I learn from this situation?
Oh, interesting.
Rather than getting stuck in self-blame or negativity.
So it's about shifting our perspective,
It is.
using those challenges to fuel our personal growth.
Absolutely. I've seen this firsthand with many of my clients.
Oh, wow.
The ones who embrace challenges and view them as opportunities to learn and evolve are the ones who ultimately thrive.
That reminds me of a time when I completely bombed a presentation at work.
Oh, good.
I was so embarrassed and wanted to hide under my desk forever.
I've been there.
But instead of letting that experience define me,
Right.
I decided to view it as a learning opportunity.
I love that.
I analyzed what went wrong, sought feedback from my colleagues, practiced my presentation skills.
Good for you.
And you know what? The next time I had to present, I knocked it out of the park.
That's awesome. That's a great example of how reframing a challenging experience can lead to growth and ultimately success.
And it's not just about reframing.
Right.
It's also about cultivating self-compassion.
Self-compassion is so important.
It's such an important point.
It is.
It's so easy to beat ourselves up
I know. We're often our own worst critics.
when we make mistakes or face setbacks.
Yeah, we can be so hard on ourselves.
But as this source emphasizes, treating ourselves with kindness and understanding is crucial for building resilience.
It's essential. Think about it. How would you support a friend
Right.
who was going through a tough time?
Okay, yeah.
You'd offer them words of encouragement,
Yeah.
remind them of their strengths,
Right.
help them focus on the positive.
Right.
We need to extend that same compassion to ourselves.
It's like being our own best friend.
Exactly. We need to be on our own team.
And, for a long time, I struggled with negative self-talk.
I hear that a lot.
It was like having this constant inner critic putting me down.
It can feel like that sometimes.
But as I've learned to practice self-compassion, that inner critic has become quieter and less influential.
That's great to hear. It's a process, for sure.
Yeah.
And it requires us to be mindful of our thoughts
Right.
and to actively challenge those negative self-beliefs.
Speaking of challenging those negative beliefs,
Yes.
this source also highlights the importance of surrounding ourselves with positive influences.
Absolutely. This is huge.
We talked about this earlier in terms of mindset,
We did.
but it's especially crucial when we're facing difficult times.
Having a supportive network of friends, family, mentors, even online communities can make a world of difference.
It can.
These are the people who believe in you, encourage you,
Yeah.
remind you of your strengths when you need it most.
It's like having a cheering squad in your corner.
Exactly.
Knowing you have people you can turn to for support can make those tough times feel a little less daunting.
It's so true. We're not meant to go through it alone.
And sometimes it's also helpful to seek professional guidance
Absolutely.
from a therapist, counselor, or coach.
There's no shame in asking for help.
Right.
Sometimes we just need an objective perspective
Yeah.
and a little extra support to help us through.
Well said.
It takes strength to reach out for support.
On that empowering note, we've reached the end of our deep dive
We have.
into 15 ways to boost yourself, unlock your full potential.
Wow, what a journey.
It has been an incredible journey.
So much good stuff in here.
And I hope our listeners feel equipped with some valuable insights and practical tools to create positive change
To make a difference
in their lives.
in their lives, in the world.
Remember, personal growth is an ongoing process.
It is. It's a journey, not a destination.
It's about continually striving
To be our best.
to become the best versions of ourselves.
It's our progress.
It's about embracing the journey
Yeah.
with all its ups and downs
All of it.
and celebrating
Every step.
every step along the way.
That's the key.
And remember, you're not alone
You're not.
in this.
We're all in this together.
We all face challenges and setbacks.
It's part of being human.
So as you continue on your self-improvement journey,
Yes.
be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself.
Celebrate your wins.
Celebrate those wins.
And never give up
Never give up
on your dreams.
on your dreams Keep reaching for the stars.
Keep learning, keep growing,
Keep going.
keep shining.
Keep shining bright.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time,
Yes.
keep diving deep and keep unlocking your full potential.
We'll see you next time.